One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Damn, do we have a lot to speak about this morning. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. Let's get it. Good morning, good morning. Happy Whip 'em Out Wednesday, man, to all of you guys. All right, Iran MOU collapses, as well as Trump at NATO summit, as we've been covering, as well as new U.S. strikes that happened overnight. Well, back and forth went overnight, but yesterday there was a big response from those two ships that were targeted in the Strait. One of them, one of the ships being a Qatari ship, actually. It's a big deal. And I knew that this retaliation was going to happen, and it possibly could have broke the MOU, which, well, Trump came out today talking about that, how it's basically no more MOU. So we're going to get into the thick of it this morning. First, let's go ahead and break down what we're chronologically looking at here on a timeline scale. Breaking, U.S. carries out new retaliatory strikes against Iran, and that was yesterday. That was in response to the two ships that were being attacked in the Strait. Then we have U.S. strikes on Iran, significantly larger, quote unquote, than strikes last month, which is a big deal, by the way. That, I mean, it was big back then, just a month ago. So these retaliations that are happening right now is big. Then we have regarding the NATO summit, Trump meets with key allies and reignites Greenland push as well, by the way. So Greenland's back on the conversation on the table. We have then the report after we made the strikes yesterday. There was a report that came out. U.S. forces hit 80 plus targets in latest Iran strikes coming out from CENTCOM, by the way. So 80 plus targets was targeted there. Questions swirl over McConnell's 3-week hospitalization. If you guys don't know, Mitch McConnell has been stuck in the hospital, and, you know, he's suffering for damn sure. He's been in there for the last 3 weeks, and there has been a lot of question about him. There was even rumors that he had died. It went around all over the internet, and we confirmed that that's not true. And then we have breaking this basically early this morning, 6 a.m. Or 6 hours ago. So that means about 4 a.m. my local time. This was all happening because it's happening over there across, it's in Turkey right there, right? So anyways, it says Trump says MOU is over amid strikes on Iran. And then more regarding that, just a single hour ago, just 1 hour ago, Trump says U.S. will strike Iran again tonight during meeting with Zelensky. All right, so that's what we're looking at this morning. It's a little bit of chaos, as you guys can see, but I always appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us, man. And let's go ahead and get pretty much right into it. Let's go do our call to actions first, and then we'll get into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys would. It's absolutely free to do so. Hitting that subscribe button is also free. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning. It's a good time. We don't talk about any of this shit. We actually try to have some good laughs and breakdowns. Speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at the $4.99 a month. Making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. A little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, the Millennial Food Time, breaking news, all that great shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, and we have a Discord server for all of you legends that want to be a part of the community. Make sure you guys go in the description down below, and that is where the invite link is. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. At any time, you can donate to those, and I will get 100% of the proceeds. And, of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. We got our email up. We're always scanning. All right, good morning to you guys, man. And I can't thank Motobomb Virginia, the coffee crew, enough for sending their people over here rating us this morning. So big W to the coffee crew, man. Carney Vanguard as well, part of the crew. Always appreciate you guys, man. We got Charles Darwin from Down Under. Good morning to you as well. We got Vanguard Critters and Mr. Al Patterson. Good morning to you, kind sir. We got Brother Shane, or well, we call him Slim up in here, you know, but we got Steve Easy as well. We got KP. Always appreciate you guys. We got Virginia Chaos. Good morning, kind sir. Running our way down. We got Brother Glare as well as Mama Iron Ranger. By the way, she sent me a very special gift. Made me a custom gift and sent it over, which was super, super nice. And she made this for us over here on Insane Wheels. Got the flag with the, you know, eagle on there. And then, of course, she put the Insane Wheels logo on there as well. Handmade, by the way. So I really can't thank you enough for the token of appreciation. That kind of stuff goes a long way with me. So thank you for that. We got Dark Soul in here as well. Good morning to you. Mr. Steiny as well. Always appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us. Sick bastard. Word. Yes, sir. Let's see. We got Steve Posey in here as well. Good morning. Good morning. Running our way down. MOU is over. Yeah, that's exactly what we've been calling for a long time. Basically since the beginning of all of this shit, right? As soon as, you know, we went into Iran, I was like, this is what's going to happen. And then that happened. And then regarding the MOU, we're not going to end up seeing a deal out of this. You know, either it'll be done, you know, distracted on a military level, or it will get messed up on, you know, the aspect of agreeing to something on a diplomatic thing. Real quick, my man, Big Al coming in on the Cash App, by the way. Big thank you. Sending it in early. Sending in $10 saying member for 7 months, bro. Thank you so much for the 10 freaking bucks on the Cash App. That goes a long way. Trust me, those Cash Apps definitely add up very, very quick. Brother PJ as well. Good morning. We got No Grow as well. Appreciate you guys. Charlie Rose. Good morning. We're running our way down here. And yes, thank you very much, Mama Iron Ranger. And yes, I'm seriously blessed with the people that are a part of the Insane Wheels family, man. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the madness this morning. We're going to start off with, you know, the U.S. carrying out those new retaliatory strikes yesterday. That was in response to the 2 ships that were targeted in the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. One of them being a Qatari ship, cargo ship, which is, trust me, the Qatar themselves are going to be absolutely livid, and they are.
We are back here for you on Live Now from Fox. We appreciate everyone continuing to join us. I'm your host, Mike Page. We come back with some breaking news.
Yes, that is a very good way to, you know, that is a very good analogy there. It is as good as the Gaza ceasefire
that we are following right now. This just coming from CENTCOM, putting this out on X as saying U.S. Central Command forces have begun launching a series of powerful strikes against Iran to impose heavy costs for targeting and attacking commercial shipping crewed by innocent civilians in an international waterway. The U.S. strikes are in response to Iranian attacks on 3 commercial vessels that were transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's demonstrated.
So it was actually 3. Now, I also heard that there was those 3. There was a total of 3 ships, but I really couldn't see a lot of information on that 3rd ship. So I played it safe and was like, okay, we have 2 guaranteed. But now there was conversation all yesterday about, hey, there's actually maybe a 3rd ship, a 3rd vessel that was hit. And they're confirming it right here. U.S. Central Command is confirming it. That's a good enough source for me. So there we go.
Dangerous and a clear violation of the ceasefire. So that news just coming down moments ago from CENTCOM. And again, we'll continue to track the very latest here for you on Live Now from Fox. But again,
yeah, that makes sense, Blair, why it was kind of like, hey, there wasn't much information out on it when I was looking it up anyways.
Tensions in the Middle East continue even.
Seymour Cannabis, good morning.
With a ceasefire that at times seems very, very fragile. We know
It
that
is.
President Trump is overseas for his NATO summit. We will be seeing him again.
But as you know, the MOU is no longer. This is from yesterday in response to those 3 ships getting attacked. And now, just about 2 hours ago, Trump came out and said the MOU is collapsed, essentially. So
tomorrow, and of course, there will probably be some sort of comments along the way as well. So
okay, so let's go ahead and move on real quick, and then we'll get into our left-handed or counterclockwise tobacco. All right, let's go ahead and talk about U.S. strikes on Iran is significantly larger than the strikes last month, and I heard that was going to be the case, and then I started seeing some video footage of Iran being attacked, Bandar Abbas, the port, also the island as well, and the surrounding areas. I was watching videos go down yesterday, pretty much live, and it was pretty big kinetic strikes and stuff.
And
so
as
here we
you
go.
might expect, following those Iranian strikes on commercial vessels, the U.S. has had a very powerful response, bombing Iran once more.
80 plus targets.
This out just within the last couple hours, saying Central Command forces have
We already
begun
saw
launching a
that.
series of powerful strikes against Iran to impose heavy costs for targeting, attacking commercial shipping crewed by innocent civilians in that international waterway. The U.S. strikes are in response to Iran attacks on 3 commercial ships. Iran's demonstrated aggression was unwarranted, dangerous, and a clear violation of the ceasefire. And these might be different. Mark Meredith posting this, saying from
Yeah, Blair, if we're gonna go to this level, we might as well colonize. You know what I mean?
Frieden saying U.S. officials telling Fox News that these strikes tonight are significantly larger than the strikes carried out last month, saying these are meant to send a signal that is attacking commercial ships is unacceptable, the official said. Let's be joined right now by national security reporter for the New York Post, Caitlin Dornbos. Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us. And we talk about these new round of powerful strikes.
What's up, chatting with Stacks? My man, good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Whip 'em Out Wednesday.
In response, how long could they last?
Right,
Hell yeah,
so they're underway now. They are targeting areas around the Strait of Hormuz, so the coastal lines, and that's very similar to previous strikes that we've seen before.
Wow, Mr. Al Patterson, he doubled down. Not only did he send money on the Cash App, but now he's sending out 5 gifted memberships, not only helping me, but helping 5 other IWF members, man. Thank you so much, Mr. Al Patterson. That goes a long way. Listen, it's going to be awesome, man. Anytime that we do members only, we always have a fucking good time. So if you guys got gifted a membership, make sure you guys show up Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We always have a phenomenal time.
That the U.S. has taken in retaliation for Iranian aggression over this period. However, what does make them different, as your reporter had mentioned, was that the scale is quite larger. They're really wanting to put a big punch on top of this to really emphasize that the U.S. isn't messing around and that this was a violation of the U.S.-Iran Memorandum of Understanding. Of course, Iran is arguing that the strikes are in violation of that MOU, and really we're just at this kind of standstill looking to see what's going to happen this weekend, whether those talks are really capable of continuing.
Yeah, potentially sending that signal, as Mark Meredith and our Fox News team was reporting. Does this put the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, the ceasefire in peril?
Now, this is a interesting question that Andy is proposing because he is feeling it like I was. I mean, I've been feeling it since the very beginning. This is some bullshit. And I don't know Andy's actual personal takes on any of this. I just watch from afar in the aspect of the way he asks questions, the way it's, of course, the way he's going to ask questions are going to be leading, right? And so it's kind of telling the way that you ask questions. You can tell kind of someone's stance. And I think that he realizes the MOU is about to fall apart. And he was correct if he was to have that assumption. Now, you guys already know my stance on the MOU. And from day one, I was like, yeah, this is no way. And so to me, is this any bit of a threat to the MOU? Yes, objectively it is. And we probably won't be going through with an MOU at this point. Yeah.
I think just stand alone with the strikes, maybe not. But we also have to talk about a major piece of news today with the Treasury Department announcing that it had rescinded that wave of Iranian oil.
Yeah, they wrote it on a Taco Bell wrapper. You know what I mean? No, girl.
Sanctions that was allowing Iran to sell its oil at market price and gaining roughly $10 billion a month in oil sales through that. So now, with the U.S. targeting Iran economically, with that lift of the sanctions, that was a major thing that brought Iran to the table.
Yes, and that is true. But then we actually just put the, that lift that we gave them on like the oil sanctions and all that stuff. We had an embargo or whatever. Now it went back. So the reason why this is all happening is because as well, it's not because solely, but it is a big reason. Basically, the administration came and said, okay, we were going to allow you to sell oil on the market, and they did, legally. They sold it on the world market. But the only people that were buying it anyways was China. But nonetheless, then Trump basically yanked that and said, nope, you're going to go right back into the shadow realm. That's exactly what happened. So I think that happened not yesterday, but the day before. I remember reading the report on that.
In addition to these amplified strikes, it's tense. It's tense to say the least.
And you brought up the U.S. not.
And yes, and honestly, I don't need to hear more from this lady. Listen, she's supposedly from the New York Post, and I feel like I would have a better breakdown than she does. But hey, she may not focus on this nonstop like somebody like me over here. All right, we're going to move on, though, because we have updated information on the MOU and all that stuff. We don't need to have her up here speculating about the future when we actually have the future queued up for us. All right, first, let's go ahead and talk about NATO, though. As you guys know, Trump has been over there in Turkey regarding NATO. So NATO summit, Trump meets with key allies and reignites Greenland push. So I guess Greenland is back on the table. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up. And actually, you know what? We got to do the money part because Mr. Al Patterson had to carry the morning. So
we just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
My man, listen, we got my man Virginia Chaos coming in on the Cash App for the 5 spot saying, hey, it's just some freaking money. That's right. He goes, hey, it's just some freaking money, dude. Hey, I appreciate that. It goes a long way, as you know. And listen, I think that everybody involved in whether it be Iran, whether it be United States, Israel, Lebanon, regards to Hezbollah, not the Lebanese government. I think everybody, including the Lebanese government, actually, I should say everybody should embrace their fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future. Quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We shall always embrace the process. That's what we do around here, as you guys can tell. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up regarding this NATO summit here. 3, 2, 1.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. The 2-day NATO summit in Turkey is underway. President Trump is attending. He's there meeting with President Erdogan.
Well, I'm sure the blockade of their ports will probably go back into play because they're not going to let up on the strait. So they're going to do exactly the counter. It's going to go back to that chessboard, right? That chessboard's going to go right back to where it kind of was. And then what's going to end up happening is, of course, the big, all-out war. Now, here's the thing. The way that I look at all this is I think the United States, and with Israel too, but I'm specifically talking about the United States. When we go back, we may not just be hitting Iran. Now, I think what's going to end up happening is a lot of their proxies are going to also get swamped. Whether that be Hezbollah, whether that be the Houthis, or the Hezbollah that is in Iraq. There's a whole bunch of possibilities that could happen here, on top of also Iran getting smoked on a military front, So anyways, back to this.
You see there the president being received, and there has since been dinners and a number of high-profile meetings. We'll continue to track Trump's visit to the region and speaking with other NATO leaders. We'll be tracking that tomorrow as well. This is a 2-day affair.
That's right, KNT. Absolutely. Make sure you double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. Appreciate you guys.
This is really a turning point in NATO's history. Recent months, we've been discussing a lot about the war in Iran, about Greenland, and of course, NATO comes up in so many other facets of our coverage across the globe. We've been learning a lot about NATO throughout this visit. A number of European countries are announcing plans to bolster military capabilities without U.S. help. And meanwhile, Trump did.
And that's good. Good. It shouldn't always land in the hands of the United States, like where we need to be fucking daddy, where we're paying every fucking thing. And they need to be self-sufficient. It's supposed to be a world organization. It's not supposed to be the United States fucking funding only kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, 1%, 2% of their GDP is, honestly, fucking nothing compared to what they're getting out of it.
With Erdogan, as you see here, there continues to be questions about whether the U.S. will sell advanced F-35 jets.
Spinner, did you get your spinner too? Spinner, is it inside of the? No. Spinner. No, I don't think so, Mama Iron Ranger.
To Turkey. All right.
I'll have to think about that.
Retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer. Hal is here with me.
Hal, by the way.
Okay, so starting off, we kind of have the group photo here, if you will. Customary, they take these when they do these annual meetings. Let's just start off with what the most important piece of business is here, Hal. There's a lot of important pieces of business, but there's a lot of different directions we can take an interview like this. I'm just curious from your perspective, what's the most important topic of discussion at this year's NATO summit? Is it the Middle East? Is it Ukraine? Is it something else?
Well, I think the first thing is what President Trump started off with, was basically talking about different NATO countries and how much they're investing of their gross domestic product into defense. Interestingly, it was Italy and Spain, and to some extent, certainly France and Germany, but really Italy and Spain that denied the U.S. Full use of our military installations there in support of Epic Fury, the fighting with Iran. And yet they're two of the biggest underinvestors.
Now China isn't involved in NATO
of their own defense. And so President Trump kicked the whole, arrived and started criticizing NATO countries. He's very critical of NATO countries with their underinvestment. He did not limit it certainly to Italy and Spain. He talked about France and he talked about Germany as well. He also had some very pointed comments aimed at at Great Britain, at the United Kingdom, and kind of almost indirectly took credit for Keir Starmer being forced out of the prime ministership. I couldn't quite connect those dots, but I thought it was rather interesting. He did bring that up. And so,
well, they're just, everything is politics. Even when they say it's not politics, it's all politics. Everything is politics. And they're always going to play that. That's the game. That's all of it. All this, everything that y'all see is fucking politics. That's what it is.
That's where it started. Now, I'm not going to take away from what's happening with Ukraine, with President Zelensky.
And these guys want to play fucking politics. And I'm like, okay, can we just get straight to the facts, please?
The need for Patriot missiles, which is going to be a big challenge for the U.S. Even if we want to give them more missiles, we have really depleted our stockpile of Patriot missiles worldwide because of the war with Iran. And then, of course, going to the Middle East, which here they are in Turkey.
They must be needing numbers right now. That's probably what it is. They probably are losing the amount of viewership during a lot of things because of independent reporters that will go out of their way to make sure that these stories come out. So they're like, well, it's going to get out there anyways. We might as well beat them to the punch. Probably. That's my logic thinking, right?
In a country that borders Iran, and kinetic action kicked off again today in Iran with U.S. strikes. So I have to tell you, it's one of the most dynamic NATO summits I've ever seen.
So Bloomberg has this. Bloomberg saying the UK, France, Germany, they've launched a $50 billion NATO initiative to spur the development of long-range weapons without U.S. involvement. They want to close the gap in an area where Russia...
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a good start. But you got to remember, $50 billion in comparison to what the United States puts up every single year. What was it last year in 2025? We gave NATO 996 billion, like 4 billion away from a whole $1 trillion. I mean, what is going on here? So I'm glad that there's an initiative that UK and France and Germany have launched this initiative without U.S. involvement, which I'm glad about that. They need to be self-sufficient. They got to don't do their thing too, but 50 billion is a drop in the bucket. It's nothing.
Is basically
in comparison
ahead of them. Hal, is this the exact kind of thing Trump is asking for when he says that he wants Europe to invest more in its own defense?
Thank you for that, Steve.
Absolutely. He's said this many times, and he really wants them to buy U.S. weapons. But one of the things that Europe is looking at is how committed the U.S. is to these things. One of the things that came up.
What's up, Dragon Classy? Good morning to you as well.
Last year was, will some of our advanced weapon systems like the F-35, do we have an off switch? Do we have the ability to turn off some of these weapons if we ever wanted to? And whereas we said, no, we don't, the reality is they're very dependent on U.S. contractors, U.S. defense contractors.
Yeah, NATO's super dependent on the United States, period, on everything, whether it be contractors, whether it be money, whether it be resources, just all of it.
Support all these things. And I think
us making the fucking munitions.
A number of these countries are saying, look, let's develop our own systems. We'll have our own supply chain, our own production lines to get these weapons out. And they're also looking at what the U.S. has done. The Patriot missiles, the perfect point.
Yeah, low key, Steve. I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Charles just came up with a banger.
Ukraine desperately needs more Patriot missiles. Some of it was politics up to this point where we weren't sending more Patriot missiles, but now it's really a problem of a depleted missile inventory because of all the Patriot missiles that were used in the Persian Gulf.
Yes, but that was our doing as well.
So even if we decide to send them more missiles, that doesn't mean those missiles.
But that's why I think they're probably doing this initiative, because we are running low on stuff like that. So I am glad that they're doing that. Like, whether they start making them themselves or whatever the case is, we don't listen, man. Let's be like America first, right? America only. That's the way that I look at it. It has, and what I mean by that, some people misconstrue what I mean by that. I mean that every decision that we do needs to benefit Americans only. It can't be like, oh yeah, we're splitting our dollar off with these people and then these people and these people and these people, which we do fund the fucking world, which is like, you know what? How well has this honestly worked out? Especially since, let's see, during the time where nuclear power around the world has changed in the landscape of the last 30, 40 years. So
missiles are going to come right away. That's a case in point.
Good morning.
Europe kind of looks at that and says, you know what? We need to have our own supply chain, our own production lines to meet some of these requirements.
So let's talk about the F-35 question. This is one of the major pieces of the Trump-Erdogan meetings, and a number of lawmakers here stateside are chiming in and giving their 2 cents about this. This is Representative Nicole Malliotakis. She's a Republican from New York.
Oh, man, don't get me started, Steve Easy.
It's a little lengthy. I want to make sure I read this out, though.
I'm trying to keep my YouTube channel and shit,
She says, I continue to strongly urge the administration not to move forward with any sale of our most advanced F-35 jets. Erdogan has aligned himself with Iran and Russia, harbored Hamas, refused to sanction Russia, undermined American counter-ISIS operations, continues to illegally occupy part of Cyprus, and has repeatedly directed illegal military jet overflights above the Greek islands and called for the destruction of Israel. Additionally, he continues to jail his political opponents and has denied dozens of journalists access to the NATO summit. Providing Turkey with our most advanced fighter jet.
And it'd be one thing depending on who we're talking about selling, F-35 jet. But by the way, our F-35s are the best fucking plane in the world. And why are we thinking about fucking selling or, handing or selling or whatever to the Turkish government? No, motherfucker. Have you not seen the way that Turkey operates? I mean, they speak out both sides of their mouth. They play that like, I'm never committed, but they are committed to a certain side, but they won't tell us to our face. They have chosen, they're these fence sitter fucks. And they sometimes can work out for us in a good way, and then a lot of times it's very negative.
That would jeopardize U.S.
We should
national
not
security. It
give
would
'em-
risk sensitive technology falling into
I'm with this woman right here. I urge the administration not to move forward with any sale
the wrong hands and endanger our allies in the Eastern Mediterranean and Middle East. Again, that statement from Representative Malliotakis. She's a Republican out of New York. Al, what is Trump going to have
New
to
York
consider
for her.
when he makes this F-35 decision with Erdogan?
Well, in his first term, he turned off the F-35 because going to Turkey, he took them out of the. There was a number of countries that are getting F-35s. Turkey was one of them. They didn't get it because they decided to buy the S-400 air defense system from Russia. That's not just, it's the same thing, but it's a Russian side. What I just talked about with, it comes.
What's up, Raptor? Good morning.
With a whole line of contractors that help maintain that. So when they're out there and they're using that S-400 in whether it's real operations or training operations, they're constantly gathering data on whatever aircraft are flying in the area. The concern at that time was that here they'd be in this unique position, this opportunity to observe the F-35 close up, working in and around Turkish airspace and Turkish military installations, and gather some information on what were its strengths, what were its vulnerabilities, and of course the implication is that that information would go immediately over to the Russians and to the Chinese. And
what's up, AU? By the way, good morning to you.
All of our potential adversaries around the world would suddenly know what the weaknesses are with these aircraft, and that's a very, very serious thing. I mean, I can go back to World War II, talk about when we captured Zero intact, and when we put that into operation, that was one of the crucial things that helped us defeat Japanese Zeros throughout World War II. So,
all right, so I think that's enough information in regards to what's going on with NATO. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else here. What is this?
The president met with Erdogan, stripped some of those restrictions. By the way, photo.
Yeah, I mean, there's just more photos. I mean, they had a bilateral meeting that we covered yesterday. So it's not like that's their first time meeting or anything here. Is it good? It is good to welcome my friend Zelensky to Ukraine security. Anakra, Ukraine security is our security, and we have important work to do to make sure you continue to have what you need to defend your freedom. That's coming from Mark. Okay, that's the Secretary General, the guy that always sits there and blows fucking Trump. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Because we still have a lot of shit to cover this morning. U.S. forces hit 80 plus targets in latest Iran strikes coming out from CENTCOM 11 hours ago. Yeah, so when we were talking about the retaliatory strikes that you guys, regards to the three ships that were targeted, the response to that is 80 plus targets in these latest Iran strikes. And then on top of that, Trump early this morning, well, just actually an hour or two ago, was saying that the MOU is now basically not a thing anymore. So it looks like it has imploded. So let's go ahead and bring this up. And also, you know what we got to do? We haven't done the sandwich yet.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
That's always going to be true. Good morning to everybody. Happy Whip 'em Out Wednesday. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what the fuck's going on before we get into Trump's marks regarding the MOU. Here we go.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. New video coming from the U.S. military. We just got it in.
Good morning, Motobomb, Virginia.
This is the U.S. launching a series of strikes against Iranian targets earlier on Wednesday after 3 merchant ships were struck in the waters off Oman.
This was overnight last night.
Fox News is saying
Evening,
senior U.S.
afternoon.
officials are saying these strikes are significantly larger than the strikes carried out last month. They say they are meant to send a signal that attacking commercial shipping is unacceptable. The U.S. also says that Iran's aggression was unwarranted, dangerous, and a clear violation of the ceasefire. U.S. CENTCOM posting a statement. We've got the full thing. I want to make sure I get both parts of it in.
Yes, before he reads what CENTCOM actually put out there, make sure you guys double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side and hit that like button if you're on the horizontal whatever. Did I say vertical? I should have said vertical. Well, anyways, whatever.
Say forces
I
completed
went
a new
backwards,
round of
maybe.
offensive strikes against Iran on the 7th, hitting over 80
What's up, Kerry? By the way, good morning to you. What's that?
targets with precision munitions as an immediate response to Iran's latest attacks on commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces struck Iranian air defense systems, command and control networks, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps small boats in and near the strait to degrade Iran's ability.
Yes, and so those mosquito boats are actually a massive threat. That's how the IRGC really does a lot of damage. Is they get a whole bunch of what they call the mosquito fleet, and it's a whole bunch of these smaller boats. It's little, they're can be skiff size, but they run very fast. I mean, like we're talking like speedboat level, like 50, 60 knots. So those guys are out there and can really, and some of them can be somewhat a little bit larger with like big turrets on them and stuff like that. But yes, it is meant to overwhelm the enemy. That's what those are basically created for.
To continue.
And they do a lot of damage. So last night we struck a lot of their small boats, their mosquito boats.
Attacking international commerce flowing through the international trade corridor. Iran recently attacked 3 commercial vessels transiting the strait, including Marshall Islands flagged MT Al Rakayat, Saudi Arabia flagged MT Wedian, and Liberian flagged Cyprus Prosperity. The unwarranted aggression by Iranian forces is a clear and dangerous violation of the ceasefire and undermines freedom of navigation. CENTCOM forces remain postured and prepared to hold Iran accountable when the agreement is not adhered to or obeyed. All right, let's bring in Professor Alon Burstein. He's here with me. Alon always comes.
And real quick before he gets into it, because he does always do a pretty decent job of breaking it down. I mean, his TISM really actually helps in these breakdowns, actually. So I'm going to show you where the strikes were happening. So there was Bandar Abbas that was getting struck somewhere in here. Same thing with Qasem Island. That's that big island that's in the right, in the middle of the strait. Well, closer to the Iran side, I should say, but you know what I mean, in the strait. And then a little bit out here, Manab, I believe, Sirik, and then Vey, I think it went into like a little bit of the inland side. And they were also striking like areas like here. I can't remember the exact locations in this area, but yes, there was a lot of strikes that were going on yesterday by the United States. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of context of like where we were hitting specifically. All right, here we go.
On to break down these very complex issues alone.
And we're not going to have him go for a long time. We'll get his front monologue and then we'll move on because we still got some decent stuff to get through.
Was telling us that they targeted over 80 positions here. And, one thing I always go to you for during times like this is, are we hearing any signs on the ground that the strikes are still happening? The U.S. said that this would be an hours-long affair. Right now, it's about just past 10:30 Eastern time, Tuesday night. It's morning time hours in the Middle East. Are you seeing anything to give us any indication as to whether or not this is finished?
Thank you for having
Yeah, nothing's finished.
me, Austin. I will say that the last report that came in is over an hour ago, where there were reports in one of the Iranian port cities in Sirik, where they were saying that they were reporting explosions.
Yeah, I was showing you guys Sirik earlier on the map.
And really, that's one of the interesting things that happened is where the U.S. retaliation took place. And that's something we'll look at a little bit on the map. But I do not expect this to go on for many more hours. And the reason for that is, well, there's 2 reasons for that. One is the United States wants to send a message. It made that very clear. It said that explicitly.
Right. And then the little pause in between, and then it'll go right back into what it is. So we see a little bit of, calm before the storm kind of action, which is theoretically in these hours. But then Trump now saying the MOU is no longer a thing. Yeah, that's when we're going to start seeing kinetic strikes, full-out war again.
Sending a deliberately disproportionate message in order to show this is unacceptable.
And we haven't even gotten to that yet. This is from yesterday, essentially, and we have this morning Trump talking about the MOU at NATO.
Something. It means we don't want now a full-on escalation return to war. It's a message. A message has an end point. So even if it goes on for another hour or two, the United States does not want to, so to speak, force Iran into a situation where Iran then retaliates now and there's a full-on escalation. That's one reason. Another reason is also diplomatic. Right now, the situation with Iran is in a weird pause due.
Extremely. It's going to be not only an extremely long week and busy week, but it's going to be a busy next few months.
To the funeral of the previous supreme leader. The previous supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, is the funeral procession now is taking over a week. The United States agreed to not have any negotiations during that week. The United States, Iran also warned the United States not to carry out any attacks, but then Iran carried out the attacks on the vessels. But I do not expect the United States to actually escalate into attacks that will happen during the day. Attacks that happen at night are part of the nightly escalation.
And that it usually is when we do the response is usually at night. That's when oftentimes we do that.
That happened.
And actually a lot of warfare happens. And I mean, yes, of course there's daytime warfare. I'm not saying that there isn't, but in the Middle East specifically, a lot of war that is going down anytime there's launching of missiles or any of that, usually it's at nighttime, if you guys have ever noticed.
Attacks that would then happen into the following day are going to take the news cycle in Iran during the funeral. That is something that will definitely lead to a further escalation. So I would be surprised if this goes on for more than maybe another hour or so, if that.
So I can kind of assume what the people in the comments on this video are going to ask, which is, why did these ships, I should say, get targeted in the first place? This map kind of...
That's a good question. That's a good question. I hope that he can break that down for us.
Gives us a rough idea of where the tanker was struck. What level of clarity do we have on why this began?
So to some extent, we have a lot of clarity, if we look at things from Iran's perspective, which is something that obviously a lot of viewers don't want to do, but if we're trying to understand why Iran did this.
Right. You have to look at these things objectively. If you're going to do what we're doing here right now, you have to do things objectively. You can't listen to only one side and disregard the other and not figure out, like, be empathetic enough to be like, why did they do this? It's good to know the psychology on these things.
What signal are they trying to send? And that's where the map where you're showing where those tankers were struck is very important. If you go back to me, I'll zoom in on my map here for a minute and show people why they're, from Iran's perspective, what message they are trying to send. This is the Strait of Hormuz over here. And prior to the war, there were 3 different routes. One would go up here much closer to the Iranian international waters.
And that was their shipping lane. And then there was another shipping lane that the U.S. and Oman basically came up with.
One goes down here closer to Oman's international waters.
Yep.
And there was a middle route over here that was governed by international law, that not belong to anyone. War breaks out, Iran lays down a lot of mines, and there's a lot of attacks. And after the ceasefire was declared, and especially after the Memorandum of Understanding was issued, Iran published a map. And on that map, they said...
Yes, and we actually have that map somewhere on my computer where it shows the line that needs to be taken by the, if any... This is what Iran's claiming, that any ship that is to go through needs to be going through this shipping lane, which is what, the shipping lane that goes closer to Iran. And the reason for that as well is to also help them implement tolls, because it's closer to Iran and to Qasem Island or whatever, however you pronounce it.
Are required to only take the northern route, only go even further north into Iranian territory between these islands.
Yep.
Iran said this is for their own safety, which was read both as...
Yes, but that's what they claim, but really what it is to collect tolls so that they can bring it all the way in here and collect tolls and basically set a precedence going forward. Now, the United States knew that if we were to just allow them to do that, that's exactly what they would do.
Iran has planted mines in this area, also read as a very, very blatant threat. Over the last several days, and even I'll say several weeks, Iran has been carrying out attacks at any ship not taking the route that it requires ships. These ships were struck, as you showed in the map, over here. They were struck off the Gulf of Oman. They were taking the Omani Pass.
They were taking the United States / Oman's shipping route. And that's exactly what I was hoping that he was going to break down for us. And
Iran
he did.
Is sending a very explicit message saying, we are the ones who will govern what happens in the Strait.
And that's why one of the ships that got hit was a Qatari tanker. And trust me, that's major escalation right there. All right, we're going to move on into really quick. We got to get this because this is in the news and we have been covering it. Mitch McConnell has been in the hospital now for the last 3 weeks, and there has been a lot of question on him, his health, and there was even death, like rumors that he had died and stuff like that, and which was false. We confirmed that. But anyways. Now he's in there now for 3 weeks.
You're watching
Not
live
good.
now from Fox. My name is Alexandra Goldberg. It's good to be with you tonight. Now to the over 3-week hospitalization of Senator Mitch McConnell and the sparse public details. Take a look here. You're getting a live look at Louisville, Kentucky, the state's biggest city. It's concerns growing in Washington and Kentucky about the health of the state's longtime Senator Mitch McConnell. Now hospitalized for nearly a month, his inability to vote on the GOP's agenda is putting added stress on the party's legislative objectives. Fox News correspondent Alexandra.
Well, see, here's the problem with that theory. This is the danger of all of it, is whether they build a canal over there or not, it's kind of irrelevant because it can still be targeted. Anything in the region within reach of drones, missiles, whatever, unfortunately, they could shut down anything they kind of want just by, again, remember how I told you guys, they don't necessarily have to enforce anything. They just have to fucking threaten it and then it will shut down. So even if they did build that canal, it's still within the region to be able to attack it. And so you run into that same problem again. So the other thought is, okay, well, why don't we do pipelines? Well, you can do pipelines, but you can still target those pipelines and still burst those pipelines with, I mean, whether it be bunker busters, whether it be, or just hitting a whole bunch of missiles onto the pipeline until it just enough goes through and hits it and damages it or whatever. There's always weak points to all these things. And that's something that it's going to take a lot of time, money, effort to do stuff like that. Even that big pipeline is going to cost a lot of money, but it is at risk of being targeted. Same thing with if they were to do that canal kind of theory. So
Andrea Hoff has more from Washington.
What's up, Prez? Good morning to you, kind
Control of
sir.
the Senate potentially up for grabs
Yes,
in the November midterms, one senator's extended absence is raising new questions on Capitol Hill. Former GOP leader Mitch McConnell has been in the hospital since June 14th after paramedics responded to a report of cardiac arrest at the 84-year-old's home, according to dispatcher audio. 3 weeks later, there's been no specific updates on his condition.
About a quarter of people who have cardiac arrest outside of the hospital actually survive to the hospital. And then of those people, a tiny fraction survive that hospitalization.
Wow. So most people survive the original, hit or whatever of cardiac arrest. But by the time they get to they arrive alive in the hospital, but he's saying a large majority die in the hospital during that time, which is an interesting report, by the way.
And then of those people, a tiny fraction survive that hospitalization with a cognitive and neurologic intact status.
His office released.
Wow, that sucks. We got Mr. Al Patterson also gifting out a membership. Let's fucking go, my man. Thank you very much for sending the love out. And not only for me, but for someone else in the IWF, my man. Thank you for that.
Releasing a statement Monday night that read, Senator McConnell appreciates the outpouring of support he's receiving while he continues his recovery in the hospital. Senator continues to improve and is working closely with his staff on Kentucky and Senate matters while the Senate is out of session. Colleagues who've spoken with him say he's doing well.
Yeah, Thomas Massey was on the phone with him yesterday, I think it was. I think that's and also a handful of people in Congress were on the phone with him, and they made their they posted on Thomas Massey, hey, I spoke to Senator Mitch McConnell, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. So, yeah.
He was in good spirits. I mean,
he is alive as of right now.
Very dialed in, paying attention to what's going on, and indicated that he would be back soon.
Senate Republicans are already navigating a slim majority, and McConnell's absence is having an impact on the agenda, including on a.
Now, I'll tell you the one thing that is good is that he is not running again. So in January, it's over for him. Now, he is the longest standing man in Congress, by the way. He the longest standing man in Congress. And that is good. We need to get these fucks out.
War Powers resolution late last month that narrowly passed, in part because he was not present to vote against it.
On this motion, the yeas are 50, the nays are
That's right,
48.
Richard. Good
the
morning.
concurrent motion is agreed to.
McConnell is not up for re-election, and this term was set to be his last. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
We're also getting the first reports of extended conversations between McConnell and his allies. Take a look here. This is Scott Jennings, who is a long time.
So there was a handful of people that were on the phone with him yesterday and saying, that we talked for just shy of 20 minutes about Iran, Ukraine, unfolding situation in Maine. And actually, I think Mitch McConnell said something to the extent that he wants the end of the war, something to that extent. But anyways, we're going to move on because we still have two things that are very lengthy that we got to get through this morning. because the big thing that came up this morning was Trump says MOU is over amid strikes in Iran. Well, we have the thumbnail specifically made, of course, with all the shows that we do, but we haven't made the MOU collapses, and we're going right back into basically full-scale war here soon. It's not happening this second. We did our strikes last night, but you're going to see a little bit of this grace period, and then it's going to go back into a bigger scale war, at least from what I'm logically concluding, right? So let's go ahead and bring this up. And here we go.
Last night, President Erdogan, and I think it was really, I would rate it a 10, maybe a 12. It was 12. Yeah, that's beautiful. Everything's beautiful. We've had some very good meetings, in particular with Turkey and trade, and now we're meeting with everybody today, as you know. We have a very
Mr. Josh Phillips, good morning, kind sir. Great to see you in the chat, my
big
man.
meeting with lots of leaders from, I think, every country, right? Every country showed up.
Oh, okay. So that makes total fucking sense, actually.
Plus,
That's
we have a couple that
hilarious. And you know what's funny is I remember reading that last night, and I was a little, drinking, and it was funny because I remember laughing at it.
are in NATO. They would like to be in NATO, I guess.
Well, that makes way more
It's
sense
been
on
very
that one.
successful. It's been a fantastic meeting. So I'll be having a news conference after we finish it at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I assume most of you will attend. But a lot of things have been determined, and some things haven't, frankly. We attacked very powerfully last night the very dangerous people from Iran. They're sick. There's something wrong with them.
Uh-oh. There's something wrong with them. They're sick.
Emotional, damn it!
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! We said, go and do your funeral stuff. And instead of that, they start shooting rockets at ships yesterday. And so we hit them very hard last night. Very hard. I would say 20-1, 20 times tougher.
So 20 times tougher than the strikes that we gave them last month.
I told them every time you hit, we hit. And of course, they're dirty players, so they go after everyone, probably including me. I've been number one on their list for years. And they're a bunch of scum, you want to know the truth. They're scum.
Shit.
And
they're scum.
So we don't like them. I don't like them. And they're evil people, and it's the denuclearization of Iran. And we're going to denuke it. We're not going to let them because they're crazy, and they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they go around killing people. They've killed thousands and thousands of our soldiers. They've killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people.
Good morning, by the way, Pablo. Nice to see you in
They
the
had
chat.
the roadside bomb, Soleimani. I took care of him first term. And that was a big thing because I think they probably would be a lot stronger had he been around because he was a bad guy, but he was an evil genius, but a bad guy. And he was the father of the roadside bomb. The roadside bomb is a bomb that goes on when you're driving your little vehicle around, and it goes on and you have no legs, no arms, and no face. And they've killed thousands and thousands of people. Even the SS Cole was theirs. You know, if you remember that disaster. So I don't like them at all. And frankly, I think we waste a lot of time with them. I think we should just do our business. Can you imagine? They start shooting bombs, actually missiles at ships yesterday. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, a couple of others, and they don't. I don't think they know what the hell they're doing. But they're bad people, very bad people. I think they're incompetent, by the way. Because if they were competent, they would have made a deal a long time ago. Like how about 47 years ago? So they've been in trouble for 47 years, and they're. We took out their first set of leaders. We took out their second set of leaders. They want to take out the U.S. leader, me. I'm on every list. I saw things this morning. I'm on every single one of their lists. And so far, I guess I've been a little bit lucky, but that maybe doesn't last very long because that's the way it goes. But we have great people. But these are evil, sick people, and we have to rid their cancer. Their cancer. And you know what you do? You got to cut out cancer early. And that's the way I feel. And I want to thank Mark. He's been a great Secretary General of NATO. I'm not happy with NATO because of what they did with Greenland. And I'm not happy with NATO because of the fact that they didn't want to help us with the #1 state sponsor of terror. That's Iran. They were unwilling to help us.
Now, remember, I told you guys that in regards to Greenland came back up in this NATO conference here.
Now, in all fairness, I didn't
or the
speak
summit, I should call
Mark
it.
about it. I think if I did, it might have been different, but we didn't need help. But I was really testing. I wanted to see whether or not they'd be there. And the answer is they were. I spoke to Germany. I spoke to France. Spoke to UK. Spoke to Italy. I didn't speak to Spain. Spain is a wasted cause. We don't want to do any trade business with Spain anymore, by the way. I'd like you to cut it off. Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate. They don't pay. I don't want anything
There's plenty of countries that don't do shit in NATO.
to do with Spain. Cut off all trade with Spain, please, including visit.
Damn. Hold on. What's going on here?
A terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate. They don't pay. I don't want anything to do with Spain. Cut off all trade with Spain, please.
Dude, he is so fucking wild with this shit. It's so great.
Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate. They don't pay. I don't want anything to do with Spain. Cut off all trade with Spain, please, including visits. Okay,
including visits. Damn.
To do. Watch them come running back. Oh,
yeah.
Denied. Come running back. They treat this man terribly, and this man's a good man too. Great man. They're lucky they have him. But Spain doesn't agree to anything, and you shouldn't carry him. I mean, you sort of automatically carry because you're protecting an area, so they're there. So they probably figure they have to protect us, right? But we don't have to. We don't have to trade with them. I don't want to do any more trade with them. All right? Take it immediately. Don't even talk to them.
Immediately. Don't even talk to him. Don't even tell him that we just cut it off right this second.
They're hopeless.
They're hopeless. Dude, Trump is insane sometimes, bro. And those kind of moments, I respect like a motherfucker. These are the moments that the reason why America originally kind of fell in love with him. Is because of that kind of attitude, you know.
People, because they have everybody else going and paying and working. In Spain, in particular Spain, there are a couple of others, but in particular Spain, they're open about it. They're hostile about it, and let's see how hostile they remain when they call up and they, please, we want to trade with you, sir. We want to trade with you, sir. They make so much money with us, and we're going to see that they make a lot less. I want no business with them.
No business. He's still going.
Other than that, we're having a big meeting in a little while, and I'm going to relate my problems. Greenland is a big problem for us, and the other big problem is the fact that when we wanted them, we didn't want them badly, but we did say, if you want to join us, and they all said no. But when they could have, they weren't there for us, and we've been there for them. We spent over $1 trillion over the last short period, in order to protect these countries from Russia, and has nothing to do with us. We have
yeah. So he's referring to last year's NATO contribution that the United States spends, and we gave them like 996 billion or something like that, very close to $1 trillion.
Ocean, but it's been a long-term thing, and they haven't treated us right. And Mark understands that. He understands that, and we're going to work something out, I think, one way or the other. But we've been treated unfairly. We pay disproportionately. We had a time when we were paying 100%. We were paying 100% of NATO, and yet a lot of the countries weren't paying anything. But there was calls made a few weeks ago. I spoke with UK, and the Prime Minister said, well, we don't want to help you now, but we'll help you when the war's over. I said, that's not good. And likewise, I spoke to Germany. They didn't want to help. I spoke to France. They didn't want to help. Nobody wanted to help.
Yeah, no one wanted to get themselves involved in that shit. Absolutely.
Very small countries want to help because they're the most vulnerable. I mean, that's the only reason they wanted to help. So I appreciate you being here. We're going to be going back together, many of us together. And again, I want to say, despite the fact that I'm very upset with NATO, that we pay far, far too much.
And I'm willing to also give him respect, of course, that he's willing to say exactly how he feels to their face. I mean, he's at the NATO summit saying, I hate what you guys are doing here.
Billions and billions of dollars too much because it's unfair, because we're protecting
right
them.
in their face.
So we protect them, but they're not there for us. Think of it. Doesn't work. But I want to say this is a great leader. They're lucky they have him.
Yes, go Eagles. That's right.
It's your biggest asset.
Got to take care of yourself.
So, Mark, would you say a few words?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No need to hear from Mark here. Truthfully, we need to get into the MOU deal here because he does sit down with during this morning with Zelensky just an hour ago. He was talking about regards to the MOU. So let's actually get right into that right now because we're already at 58 minutes, and this is going to be a little lengthy, a little bit, not super long. We're not going to play this whole thing by any means, but we are going to get where he's talking about the MOU.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with President Zelensky. We've talked a little while, and we speak on occasion by phone. We had a great talk the other day, I think, very positive. and I think we have some very good stories to tell. What's going on? He wants to see a settlement, and I think President Putin wants to see a settlement. And usually that means a settlement, but who knows? This is a tough one. But I just, we just had our NATO meeting, and it was a great meeting. You probably heard it was a great meeting. There was a lot of love in that room. A lot of.
Oh, you know what's interesting is I guess he said it on the clip that I just was playing earlier. That I guess I got a little too. I thought it was the other one. So hold on, actually, because I just didn't get to it. That's the problem here. So hold on, I was G checking myself here. So hold on, we're gonna fix this. We will fix this. I promise you. We'll get it right. Here we go.
Take care of Greenland. In fact, we took Greenland, and then stupidly we gave it back. We shouldn't have given it back to them because we're the ones that need it. We need it for protection of the world, not just the United States. And it's very important. It doesn't help Denmark, but it helps us. And it's very important for us. And again, they were defeated very quickly. Denmark was beaten in one day.
That's right. We're going to get a little bit of OT today, a little bit. So make sure you guys listen. You know what they say about overtime? No cash on, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Send in your freaking money. We got Mr. Alfred coming in. We got Mr. Al Patterson coming in hot on the freaking Cash App, sending in for, he says, time and a half for overtime. Great show, Mike. With the $15, my man, thank you so fucking much. That goes a long way. On the Cash App as well, man. Yes, sir. Where I get 100% of the proceeds. Thank you for that, kind sir.
Less than one day by the Nazis, by Hitler.
W.
And when this happened, they immediately switched it over to us. We owned it. We had it. We were taking care of it, and then we gave it back, which is, I don't know why. I wouldn't have given the Panama Canal back either. So what do I know? I certainly wouldn't have done that because China's trying to take over the Panama Canal, and that's not going to happen. So, but I just, it's interesting. I'm very unhappy with NATO, and yet this man is a great leader, and he gets it. He gets it maybe better than some of the leaders.
Also, your allies get it, thanks to you, and that is important. Yeah. I could not do this without you.
It's too bad Biden didn't do it, or Obama.
Hey, but you're here now.
Shit.
And you're in 2045 and 2047. In total, more than $1.2 trillion. I call this the Trump trillion.
No, it's true,
$1.2 trillion dollars extra spent by Canada and the
And I'm not always blaming NATO. They got a free ride. And if Biden had any brain, which he didn't, he would have said, you got to pay more. And same with Obama. Two bad presidents. But they could have asked, and you would have done that too. It would have been, who knows? Who knows if they would have done it.
And it is huge.
It should have happened years ago. And it couldn't. But Obama didn't do it. And Biden didn't do it. And frankly, Bush didn't do it either.
But you did what Eisenhower started trying to.
You be safe out there, Steve Easy. We always appreciate you.
Equalizing the Europeans. He tried. And all the other presidents, none of them were successful. You were the first one. It's your win. Your win in the Hague.
That's why I like him.
And your win now.
That's why I like him.
This is true. Without you, this would not have happened.
You have any questions?
Mr. President, is the ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done?
That's the very first question. Is the ceasefire done? Meaning the MOU.
The MOU dead?
That's a very interesting question.
Very interesting question.
I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the president.
But the MOU doesn't state any of that, anything. I mean, it just says that they're not going to continue enriching during the 60 days, essentially. The whole MOU is to get us to the point of negotiating a nuclear deal.
They say we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
After we get through the funeral proceedings.
What?
Does this mean that talks with Iran will not resume?
I don't care. They can talk, but I think they're wasting their time. They're a bunch of lying guys. I do my whole life. That's all I do is deals. My whole life that's how I became president. I guess that's a deal too, right? But I made a lot of money. I had a lot of great success, tremendous success. Everything I did, I was successful. And I deal with these guys, and I say this is from a different school. They're liars. They're cheats. They're sick people. 54,000 people as of now that were protesting. You know, when people say, how come they haven't taken over? They can't take over because they're dead. They killed them. Nobody's going to take over. They have no guns, and the other side has machine guns. And they're killing them. The press doesn't report it. But they're bad people. They're bad people. And frankly, I don't want to waste my time with them. Now, I'll let our wonderful negotiators keep talking if they want, but I don't see it. I don't like these people. You know that? I like him. I like the leaders. I think all of these leaders.
And they love
I think they didn't treat the United States fairly for many years, but that's okay. But they're sane, rational, good people. Most of them. I don't like a couple of them, to be honest with you. But there are a couple I don't like much. But I like Erdogan. I'll tell you, I like President Erdogan. He rolled out the.
Yes, no doubt. If there's any time to play that sandwich video, it's now.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Facts.
The carpet, he's terrific. You know, he could have gone into the war. A lot of people saying, like with Bibi, I like Bibi. I think Bibi was a terrific wartime prime minister. But Bibi said rough things yesterday about Turkey and Erdogan. And I said, you know, I spoke to him. I said, he could have gone into the war because he doesn't like Israel much. And he doesn't like Bibi much. And he didn't go because of me. And this is a military power. Millions of soldiers. Turkey is very strong. They have a lot of our best equipment. They're trying to get the F-35s. But he didn't go in. He wanted it. He would go in. If it weren't for me, he would have gone in. And he would have been on the other side. Even though I don't think he likes the other side either, because he happens to be very sane and they happen to be very crazy. But so I think, you know, they treated us right. I think China treated us right. I was with President Xi and I said, I hope you're not going to go into the war because we don't want that. You know, he gets 50% of his oil from the Strait of Hormuz and he gets more than 50%. And he never went into the war. He didn't supply him equipment. You know, he was great. I'm a big fan of President Xi. A lot of people say, oh, why? You know, I watched a couple of people critical of the fact that
China's interesting. China is willing to wait out everything. They're willing to outweight everybody. They're insane that way.
TikTok
They will
is
wait.
so bad. It's so dangerous. It's so horrible. They're spreading all these rumors. And the numbers came out yesterday. You know who's number one on TikTok? I am. I'm number one on TikTok. And all I talk about is how bad communism is, right? They say, oh, it's terrible. They're spreading, but I'm number one. And I listen to Gordon Chang. I like Gordon Chang, but he's always like negative. Oh, China.
What's up, brother TVT? Good morning.
They're so terrible. They're so terrible. And TikTok is so terrible. But I'm number one on TikTok. I have like 4 billion views or something like that. So I don't know. People have to get the.
A lot of creators got some big numbers on TikTok on me. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next little bit with Zelensky. We're not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to get a little bit. I just want to get kind of like the front monologue here. We're not going to get into questions or any of that. We do have to zip through this.
Unity. And I don't think it could have been, Marco. What do you think? It couldn't have gotten much better. Do you have a feeling as to what you just saw?
Very positive. A lot of unity, strength in it.
Yeah, really good. Scott, what do you think?
Yes, sir. All the Europeans attributed you to saving NATO, and they want to do what they're supposed to do and do the right thing.
Yeah, there was something very special. And I will say that what they've done with Turkey and President Erdogan has been a friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. Strong man, good man, and he's done a fantastic job. Every road, so everything's perfect. He's from the airport to the destination, everything's been perfect. So we had a really good meeting. And we thought this would be a good time for President Zelensky and I to meet, and we'll see what we can do. But we've actually developed a good relationship. It's hard to believe, right? From the Oval Office to now, I think we've developed a very good relationship. And
this is not the end.
No, this is not. This is going to be the beginning, maybe.
Yeah.
Just the beginning. And you know, the country has a lot of future. It has such great land, such great assets, such great people. And you have a lot of people. I was
saying it's just the beginning to a man that's been in a war for the last 4 years.
with a group in Poland, and you have a lot of people in Poland, and which is a terrific country with a really great president. I happen to endorse him, and he's doing a very good job. And they were saying they love Poland, but they really want to go back. You know, you're going to get a lot of people back when this is over. They left some, and they're all. I think they're going to come back. A big percentage are going to come back. So we're going to have a good talk, and we're going to see how it all goes. And Mr. President, would you like to say something?
Thanks so much, Mr. President. Thank you very much for this meeting, and we're very thankful, as always, to your support, American support, bipartisan support. Thanks for the invitation to this summit, and I think that I agree with you. We have a lot to discuss, what to speak about, and of course, we are thankful for the Pearl program. And we want to share with you some details what we want to raise during our meeting. Air defenses.
And every single time that there is any type of bilateral meeting in NATO like this, basically what it is homie coming down, sitting down, and asking for more money.
The priority. The second point, or maybe the first, about negotiations. I think, yes, we understand what to do. It's our estimation what to do, how to bring peace, and I hope that we will do. I'm sure that we will do everything to solve this war. Yeah, and I'm very happy that our side began to work on drone deal, and it's a very good beginning. And I hope that today I will have possibility to also to discuss with you some very important details. Thank you so much.
Well, we've settled a lot of wars, and this one is the one that I thought maybe would be the easiest. But Putin's a difficult character, and this guy's a difficult character. It's not the easiest, thing. There's a lot of commitment, and there's a lot of love of the countries and everything else. But I think we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of weeks, and we'll see how it all goes. So, do you have any questions?
President Trump.
Jeez, the way they fucking start screaming.
Yeah, Iran ceasefire possibly over. Can we expect a resumption of full-scale hostilities?
They are behaving very badly, as they have for 47 years. And we hit them hard last night after they launched a couple of, you don't have to know about this, you got stuff on your mind, but they launched a couple of drones and one rocket, one missile, and at ships, because they were in the strait, which they have every right to be.
3 ships.
So we hit them very hard last night. Very. I'll probably hit them hard again tonight. I'll give them a little warning. We're going to hit them hard tonight. But we'll see how it all works out. No, I'm not happy with them. It's like, for instance, we'll have a meeting and we'll talk about the denuclearization of Iran, because that's what the war is. It's not a war. It's really the denuclearization of Iran. And we'll have a meeting and we'll talk about just that. That's because my whole thing is not about regime change. It's not about that, although I think it's regime change when you knock out the first group, the second group, and now you're the. I think that's maybe the ultimate regime change, but that's not what it's about. It's about we don't want them to have nuclear weapons, and it's denuking or denuclearization. And I think we've made a lot of progress. And they'll get out of the room. We'll talk about it like we're here. They'll agree on everything, and then they'll go have a news conference and say we never even talked about it. They're cuckoo. There's something wrong with these people. And for 47 years, they've been the bully of the Middle East, and they're not the bully anymore. They're not the bully anymore. And all we want, it's very simple. They can't have a nuclear weapon. That's what I'm there for.
President Trump, sir. President Trump.
If they did, they'd use it, and we're not going to let that
President Trump, sir.
Daniel?
You've made a career making deals
What's
in
up,
very
Jess?
challenging situations.
Good morning, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying. Well, for you, it's the next day, early morning. So good morning. It's great to see you.
Speaking to President Zelensky, speaking to President Putin, in your view, sir, what is the most pragmatic pathway forward to finding a long-term peace deal?
I just think they're going to make a deal. Look, this deal has been in the works for a long time. It's got the pluses, the minuses. They know what it is. He knows what it is better than anybody. And I just think it's sometimes, I used an analogy, and it sounds simple, but it's sort of true. You have two kids in a park, and they don't like each other, and they start fighting. Sometimes you have to let them fight, let them see that it's tough. It's tough. Fighting is tough. And he's done an amazing job. Look, he's been very effective. Now he's had the best equipment because he's had our equipment, and he's had great. But somebody has to use that equipment. And you have a lot of brave people that are using that equipment. And Russia, it's a big country, but it's a big force. Russia's always been a big fighting force. So, but I really believe it's ready. It's very interesting because you'd almost say it's worse than ever, and maybe it isn't. Sometimes with war, and you study war, and I've studied it so long, for years, long before I did this, sometimes it's when it gets the worst. And I don't know that it's the worst right now. It's consistent.
We always appreciate you, VC.
They lost
Be safe out there.
25,000 people were lost kids, young people last month. And we had 35 2 months ago. And I would say more Russians. But it's just, they're people. They're people. And there's actually very little difference between the people. I mean, it's like the Russians and Ukrainian people.
That would be, I'm sure he took that offensively.
And they can get along. But it's a nasty war. Thousands and thousands, mostly soldiers, are being killed. The battlefields, I see pictures and it's horrible. He thinks it's horrible. We all think it's horrible. And the president wants to get it done. And I believe that President Putin wants to get it done. And that should be a good combination.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, what a wild morning. As you guys can see from the thumbnail, as Trump made the claim that basically the MOUs collapsed. So they're going to be struck hard tonight, according to Trump. That's what he said there in the summit as well, saying that we might strike them hard tonight, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so at least you guys know where we're at, and expect this to, I mean, this is going to be an escalation, you know, so get ready for high gas prices, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to end up happening. So listen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. We have over 100 in here between both the live streams. Anyways, much love, honor, respect to you guys. We'll see you guys here. Actually, we'll be back tonight for the Diamond Effect at 7:10 p.m. Central Standard Time this evening. And then also, because we're going to be talking about this quite a bit regards to Iran. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning to report all of what we are doing here. You know, this is what we do here. So much love, honor, respect to you guys. God bless everybody.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels.